this incident about Ralph. Ralph loved Swamiji and served him personally whenever and however he could. He would shine his shoes, fetch his tobacco from upstairs, and do other little things that Swamiji asked of him. Often they used to talk together, and Mrs. Hansborough remembered that once Swamiji asked Ralph, "Can you see your own eyes?" Ralph answered that he could not, except in a mirror. God is like that, Swamiji told him. He is as close as your own eyes. He is your own, even though you can't see him. If one were able to talk with Ralph today, he could no doubt tell much else that Swamiji had said to him. But the time for searching out those memories passed long ago, for Ralph Wyckoff was accidentally killed when he was 42. But while there were mornings when Swamiji was able to stroll leisurely in the garden or to talk with Dorothy and her friends, more often than not, he held a 10 o'clock class in nearby Pasadena. On such occasions, he would leave the house around 9 or 9:30, accompanied by Mrs. Hansborough. He would wear his loose black coat and black hat, and would carry in a suitcase his Girwa robe and turban, into which he would later change. As we have seen, he did not always wear his robe while lecturing, but apparently he sometimes did. Mrs. Hansborough tells us that when Mrs. Bowler, the president of the Shakespeare Club, first invited him to speak, she specifically requested that he wear his turban. Swamiji obliged. "Don't you understand?" he explained to Mrs. Hansborough, who had objected. "She wants the whole show." At other times, however, Swamiji may have taken walks for the sheer pleasure of it. He was feeling well, or at least much improved. Quote, "I am decidedly better in health," he wrote to Mrs. Bull on January 17th. "The healer," meaning Mrs. Melton, "thinks I am now at liberty to go anywhere I choose. The process will go on, and I shall completely recover in a few months. She insists on this, that I am cured already. Only nature will have to work out the rest." Not only did Swamiji come to all meals, but he ate almost every kind of food, apparently without ill effect. As we have seen, he had a good breakfast. For lunch, there was usually lamb, never beef. And there were vegetables, all sorts of which he liked, particularly peas. In place of dessert, Mrs. Hansborough remembered, we would have fruit. He was especially fond of grapes. Better known and more concrete is the story of how Mrs. Wyckoff once experienced relief from physical and mental suffering just through contact with an object that had belonged to Swamiji, his pipe. Quote, "Sometime before Swamiji left South Pasadena," Mrs. Hansborough related, "he said one day, 'I always leave something behind wherever I go. I am going to leave this pipe when I go to San Francisco.' He left it on the mantelpiece in the dining room, right there. And we kept it there for a long time as an ornament. Then, one day Mrs. Wyckoff picked it up. She had been suffering from some nervous ailment and had been having personal difficulties in her life. For some days, the pain of her illness had been almost unbearable, and this, added to her other troubles, made her feel extremely depressed. She went to the mantelpiece and picked up Swamiji's pipe. No sooner did she have it in her hand than she heard his voice saying, 'Is it so hard, madam?' For some reason, she rubbed the pipe across her forehead, and instantly the suffering left her, and a feeling of well-being came over her. After that, we felt that the pipe should belong to her, and she still has it." In parentheses, "Today the pipe is in the possession of the Vedanta Society of Southern California."
And today also, that you will get a touch of that pipe.
You skip to the end, Swami. Go backwards.
Wait a minute. Okay.
Before the pictures, yeah.
Before the pictures. Okay. So I'm going to say some more here. Between the time Swamiji came, well, hold on. Yeah, the Mead household consisted of Mr. Mead, his 3 daughters, his 2 grandchildren, Mrs. Hansborough's daughter Dorothy, who was 4 years old, and Mrs. Wyckoff's son Ralph, who was 17, and the housekeeper, Miss Fairbanks. How so many people could fit comfortably into so small a house is a marvel. But even with guests, they managed with apparent ease. During Swamiji's stay, the 3 sisters, and for a time Miss MacLeod, all slept in the larger of the 2 front bedrooms. Hospital system, Mrs. Hansborough put it, giving to Swamiji, as we have seen, a room to himself. Old Mr. Mead, he was 84, slept downstairs. Ralph in the smaller front bedroom, and Miss Fairbanks and Dorothy in the loft-like attic, which one reached, Mrs. Cohen remembered, by a narrow staircase between Swamiji's room and the bathroom. Thus, in this populous house, Swamiji had privacy, and in its friendly and relaxed atmosphere he could live as he pleased, without the ceremony, bothersome to him, of a more formal menage. Though he was very careful about his dress when he went out or met strangers, Mrs. Hansborough said. He was casual about it at home. He remarked one Sunday morning, "Why should I be careful of my dress at home? I don't want to get married." And once, while my nephew Ralph was blacking his shoes, he said, "You know, Ralph, this fine lady business is a nuisance. All the Western fussiness about there being a proper dress for different times and places he put down as show." Every morning around 7, Swamiji would come downstairs in a worn black and white herringbone tweed bathrobe, tied at the waist by a cord. His hair would be still tousled and damp from his bath, just as it had been in the mornings at Mrs. Blodgett's. And as one can see from photographs taken of him at this period, it was fairly long. This was not by chance, but was, rather, a concession to popular demand. Quote, "His hair was beautifully wavy," Mrs. Hansborough recalled. "In fact, it was so beautiful, and it set off his features so well, that we would not let him cut it." Swamiji himself, she continued, did not object. He was wholly devoid of self-consciousness. Between the time Swamiji came down from his room and the start of breakfast, he would walk alone in the secluded garden behind the house, or along the almost equally secluded driveway at the side, sometimes singing or chanting, sometimes silent and absorbed. Breakfast was at 7:30, for Ralph was due at school at 8:30, and Helen, youngest of the sisters, she was in her 20s, was due as early in Los Angeles, where she was secretary in an insurance firm. Swamiji ate a good though light American meal, consisting mainly of fruit, 2 eggs, he liked them poached, 2 pieces of toast, and 2 cups of coffee with sugar and cream. Mrs. Hansborough once pressed upon him a 3rd cup, persisting, until at last he said, "All right, woman's business is to tempt man." But as a rule, he was moderate in eating, drinking coffee, and smoking his pipe. He no longer smoked cigars, as he had during his first visit to the West, and like most men in those days, seldom smoked cigarettes.
That's good enough?
I think we're good.
Yeah. So everybody can see some of the pictures. Swami mentioned the 3 Mead sisters. There's a picture up on the wall where they're seated at a picnic on the hill up behind this house. And then you can see here on this wall is the Universalist Church where he spoke. And then you can see over here some of the pictures on the wall of the Green Hotel and the old new Pasadena Star newspaper. You can look at that more closely when after the program is over. So we have Swami Arupeshananda, Swami Arupeshananda, Swami Shivarchanananda from St. Louis. And so Swami, shall we have
Yeah.
Swami will speak
Yeah.
and a little inspirational
Yeah,
talk,
yeah.
and then
Can start from
Swami Vivekananda, please give us a few words of wisdom.
You can stand up. Because people can see you there. All are here and there. Swami is just arrived today to Hollywood, so we are happy that we could get him to come over here. And Swami was the editor of our Udbodhan magazine in India, Bengali journal. And
Pujari in Joinabati.
Janamati expert Pujari.
That's his. Joinabati is
So
the
say,
birthplace of
I
Holy
did
Mother.
so many mistakes you have said. Yeah.
We all know him as Joinabati Pujari.
Sorry, Poonam.
Pranam to Swami Vivekananda first.
A little voice.
Om Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraya Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapapaya. We offer my pranam to the king of the ascetics, the monks, who is Swami Vivekananda, blazing like the sun, who is of the nature of the absolute existence, knowledge and bliss. Salutation to that great personality who removes the miseries of worldly life. So, I was not ready for this talk. So, I hope Swamiji will remove my miseries of life. While sitting the upstairs, I was thinking and about all the songs that our Mataji was singing and whatever was coming in my mind. So, in reminiscences of Swami Vivekananda, you can get an incident that a gentleman, first time he met with Swami Vivekananda, and Swamiji said, I will teach you how to embrace death, how to conquer death. So for the gentleman who was in his youth, it was not a interesting thing, but in that time he was not ready to accept that fate of that that period of life, that phase of his life. But sometimes I think about Swami Vivekananda, immediately the idea that comes in our mind about conquering. And perhaps many of you heard about Shankaracharya, Acharya Shankara, a famous philosopher and saint of India. So, I remember there was a conversation was going on about Acharya Shankara. There is a book named Shankara Digvijaya. It's about how Shankara, the philosopher, the saint, he conquered the world with his, his philosophy. So about that, Swami Vivekananda, he commented a beautiful line. He told, it is not that kind of conquering that we generally think of. Digvijaya. So you can understand the conquering of Shankara, or same, I want to connect with Swami Vivekananda also. It is some kind of conquering the heart of the son, of the child by mother. It is not about conquering the head, it is about conquering heart. So, Swamiji's, how he conquered the world. So it is his heart in many things. So within 5 minutes it is not possible to say about how intellectual he was, the fathomless realization that he had. So one thing I can say about realization, again Swami Vivekananda, you were talking about vairagya, dispassion. Generally we ask to God, give us knowledge, give us dispassion, give us love, all those things. So again, Vivekanandaji, he corrected that word. So Swamiji was not an embodiment of dispassion or Vairagya, because the person who wants Vairagya, that is dispassion, who has a sense of bondage. So who has a sense of bondage, they want salvation. So Swamiji was not like that. So this thing we should keep in our mind while understanding Vivekananda, when we try to understand Vivekananda. And if you, 2 or 3 more points I can say about that. Swamiji, to understand Swamiji, we have to, sometimes we cannot look at the sun, but we can see the reflection. From the reflection, we little bit understand about the sun, the power of the sun, the grandeur of the sun. It gives. So the reflected ray of Vivekananda. If you read Sister Christine, Sister Nivedita, or other direct recitals of Swami Vivekananda, like maybe Swami Sadashivananda, he has a very nice, he says very nicely on Swami Vivekananda's heart. So Josephine MacLeod was one of them. He told that how he conquered, unique kind of thing. Because why he conquered all? Because he was ready to learn from all. Fine thing, understand. You have to conquer all, you have to ready to learn from all. It was her observation. So, but if you the conquering heart, or mother's love, there's a difference between love of mother towards her children and this kind of personality like Vivekananda, their life to the humanity. There is difference again. So, what is the difference? Mother loves her son, but Swamiji, that kind of, or maybe Christ, maybe Buddha, anybody you can, it's coming from their oneness. Oneness with the humanity. Sometimes Swami Akhandananda used to say, we have Dehatma Bodha. We are identified with body. So if something, a mosquito or anything is biting my body, we're aware of that. Swamiji is Vishwatma Bodha. So if there is any that suffering in the world, any corner, immediately it touches the heart of Vivekananda, because from the oneness. So that's another aspect of Swami Vivekananda. So these are the points I wanted to share. Many are there, but let us conclude, Maharaj, I think, for a few minutes. So again, that today that
You want to say?
2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually, I was thinking while sitting in the upstairs that Mataji was singing Murta Maheshwara, Mujjala Bhaskara. So, one line suddenly strikes me that Kataksha Prekshana Maghadala Vidalana Daksham. Kataksha Prekshana, mere having a glance of Swamiji's, so Aghadala, actually Aghadala, Agha means the scenes, the limitation, we should say. Immediate, you go beyond the limitations, all the limitations we have. So Swamiji's inspiration go beyond all limitations. So mere little bit of his glance is capable of that it may dispel all our the limitations. So when so Swami Vivekananda always never think as a human being or a limited personality. He was a force, an eternal force. So there's a sometimes when I think sometimes what's the difference between ordinary influencers that's in social media how we can get they motivate us, and Swamiji also he influences us whenever we read. So what is the difference between with Swamiji? So their influence is limited by time and space, but Swamiji's influence go beyond that. So he is ready there to embrace us all. So be ready for that. So the pranam mantra, pranam mantra is there. Paratatte sadadingo Ramakrishna samakraya. Yo dharma sthapanarato vileshantam namauni. So he was absorbed in that supreme reality, supreme reality. And but the command of Sri Ramakrishna, what he did, Sarv Dharma Sthapanarato, he is establishing the dharma in all of us. So what is our dharma? So as a human being, we have a dharma, we have something, some aspects that we should nourish. So Vivekananda used to say that how to use our senses, how to use our brain, how to use your body, how to use your heart. In Gita you can find when Sattva-guna arises, all that it is illumined by the knowledge. So it is about awakening. Omkaranandaji Maharaj used to say that sometimes we say that Swami Vivekananda, the prophet of manliness, the virility, the energy. So we should if you want to understand Vivekananda, we have to understand all those things also. So when Omkarananda used to say that sometimes we see that our devotees and monks and brahmacharis are going to the shrine room with the dull, face, gloomy face. Somehow they're just crawling towards that room. What is the thing? You are going to meet your beloved one. So with a smiling face, go straight, direct. So it is called the using. We have to awake using our body, mind, intellect, all the senses. So let's pray to Swamiji that so that he give us that strength, the virility, the manliness.
Okay, Swami. Swami Sarvadeva.
Not me.
Give us a last talk here.
The last talk?
Last talk. It's 5:30 already.
So this is a day we all come over here once in every year to get some inspiration. So this is a holy place for us, very auspicious, because we should feel a thrill that we are standing on the same ground where Vivekananda walked. These walls, these rooms, this bathroom, this place of kitchen, cooking, and he did cook here. And all these things associated, only that table is there, which still we think that it is used by Swami Vivekananda. So this is very inspirational to us because we go to a place of pilgrimage to get the inspiration from that. So this is a holy pilgrimage for us. In the whole of West we can have many places, but mainly long stay. This is one. Ridgely Manor is another, and Thousand Island Park is another. So it is one of the places of pilgrimage. And what we want to get from this place of pilgrimage is inspiration. For whom the places in the Narada says, Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthan. Those people who are themselves Tirtha, sanctified, purified, divine, they make that place auspicious. And future people come over there and get that inspiration to see that they can be aroused into the consciousness of the divinity. So we are here particularly with Swami Vivekananda, as Swami Srivastava Swami was saying, that he has so many facets of him. But what is the better thing in Swami Vivekananda is the manliness. Does not mean womanliness. the meaning that energy, that potential power to manifest what is already potential in us, to manifest. And he liked that inner potentiality is same for all men, women and everywhere. And this is the how to develop that, how to manifest that, and how to get your freedom. We are always in bondage, no? In our life, we are all, everyday life is a life of fear and anxiety and bodies. And we are lost into that. But here is Swami Vivekananda who gives us the inspiration to stand in our dignity, in our potential power, infinite power. And his whole message can be summed up, as he said, my philosophy, my words can be said into a few words, and that is to preach unto mankind that hidden divinity and how to manifest that divinity in every movement of life. Very simply he has given the idea that inner divinity is there, and we are not come here to cry and weep and die. But what he says, that inner divinity, how to make it manifest in every movement of my life, every movement of our life. So that is the message. So I think that when you read Vivekananda, you get this energy. We should read more of Vivekananda because it is universal, and it calls upon the inner source of energy and power which we are not aware of. We are thinking of our body and not thinking of the self which is behind. And Vivekananda's major work was to arouse this consciousness in this, while lecturing in this area in South Pasadena, playing over here, Shakespeare Club and other. Read the powerful lectures what he has given. It is not lecture. We give lecture. We lecture, we read some book here and there, quote this and that and make a lecture. But when Swami Vivekananda says he is not quoting something from here and there, what's springing from his own experience, that's why that's so powerful. And even after so many years past now, you read the pages, you read the lines, you feel the thrill of that. So this is the Roman Roller said, no, that even after seeing 30 years of his passing away, and I feel the thrill in every cell of my body. And then what intense impact it created when he was in the present and physical world. So he said, I shall be a voice without form. I shall be a voice without form. It may be that I shall cast this body off like an old worn out garment, but I shall not cease to work. This Ramakrishna Vivekananda's mission is not simple. He says, it may be that I shall cast this body off like an old worn out garment, and he did it, 39 years, 6 months, or something like that. He left the body, but he says his work is continuing. I shall inspire men, not inspire Indians, not inspire Americans. I shall inspire everywhere, till that everyone understands that he is one with God, until the world shall know. His mission is very big mission, until the whole world feels that I am one with God. Who feels that way? Even we talk of Vedanta, we read Vedanta, who is thinking, I am one with God? I am one with the divinity? So what sin? What mistakes? There is nothing to that. What is my inner potentiality? So here, Vivekananda is a power. That's why we should have to take that energy. And his work is incessantly working silently. Many are called, few are chosen. In that way we say, God calls us, and many respond to that call. We are not ready yet. But he's working in every heart of us till we are awakening into inner dignity and inner divinity and inner consciousness of the self. So it is Vivekananda. Following Vivekananda is not following a cult. It is a universal religion. It is a universal approach to life, an universal purpose of life, to get out of all freedom, all fear, all bondage, all suffering, and all duality, and to establish ourselves in the absolute non-dual state of our being, when we come down and see the whole world is pulsating with that divinity. What we see, that end result of what Swami Vivekananda wanted, that we should be aware of our inner dignity and inner consciousness. And with that, when you come down, then you see the whole world is gone. Whom we are treating as ordinary human being. Swami Vivekananda said, "Loke jahake bhul koriya manush name akka deয়, ami sei naro narayaner seva." Mistakenly people talk of him as human being. I worship that God in that human being, not human, but that God. So that is serving God. We are interacting with God. That's why in every movement of life, we can manifest that idea of divinity. And then seeing the same divine, the world will be transformed. Not by peace meeting, peace march, or any other thing, but by developing that inner connection with the inner divinity within, and to follow the path, what Swami Vivekananda said, to be always saying, and selfishness is there, unselfishness is God. How can we be unselfish? Forget about big philosophy of non-dual Vedanta, but how in every day we can practice, I am little unselfish, I can think of others more than of me. People are always thinking, though they body, when we are old like us, we go fall in the trap of the doctors. And doctors will say, oh, we come here and today this test, tomorrow that test. And day and night they test. And you are succumb into that. Forget your health. Think of others' welfare. Of course, when you are needed extremely, you need the doctors. I'm not saying that. But making us body conscious. And Vivekananda is making us spirituality, to conscious of our inner divinity, inner consciousness. But we are constituted by that, but only we are forgotten that. So he came to reawaken in us the inner potentiality. And this is the place which is very auspicious for us. We come here to get this inspiration. So I will request you to come occasionally to this place, and this holy place where Swami Vivekananda lived for so many days in that particular room. It's very vibrant with his touch and spiritual touch. So to bless us all, that is the prayer to Swami Vivekananda. And it is not, let us not make Vivekananda a photograph and worship on flower. Swami Vivekananda didn't like this, worshipping and ringing bell only and throwing flowers, and not practicing anything spiritual. Or most of our Indian temple or any temple we go, our spirituality ends in throwing flowers and chanting mantras and waving in, but not following anything. But they say, Swami Vivekananda said, throw away all this content and other things, but follow the inner, follow your inner urge to develop that inner potentiality and be God, be divine. And being divine, you not sit in a high throne, but being divine, you will see divinity in all and will serve divinity. And looking at you, others will be inspired. So we pray for this type of inspiration for Swami Vivekananda and his love for humanity. That's why we hammer so much. You can worship God in the temple. Can you not see God in the human? You can see God in an idol, in a stone. With much devotion you go and pour water and then milk and ghee and everything. But the human being is hungry. There is no ghee, there is no milk. So can you see that? If you can see that, you see more. It is more conscious. It's asking. The eyes are blinking. They're seeking for something. The living God. So he said, I am calling you to worship God from the dead to the life. So that is the living God which we are around. So we should have to practice this thing so that our life becomes more fruitful and full of blessings. So I get the blessings of Swami Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother, so that we can really grow from our inner potentiality more and more and more, and become aware of our inner divinity. So thank you all for coming. And I will also suggest that probably we used to come every month one day. COVID has stopped all these things. But if you show interest, then we can start that again.
Yes,
But not now. Are you interested?
Yes.
So if you do that, then we'll be okay. So we will start after the vacation, July, August. And next after that, when you open other centers also, then we can start. I wanted to come little meditation and prayer and chant and this and reading, discussion. No? So it will be good. So that will be a practical application of today's celebration. Thank you.
So we will we'll sing together a song that was written by Swami Vivekananda, Kandana,
So someone should
Pravajika,
help.
Vayaprana. And I think most of you know those words, and afterwards we can line up and get the blessing from the pipe. Swami read about the incident about the pipe, so we can get Swami will bless us with the pipe after we sing Khandala.
So long they get ready, Swami, you can tell some story about this.
Where is she?
Swami, let them start. By that time you can give us one story of this, what happened here. One story.
He wants you to tell a story about something that happened when Swamiji was here.
Well, all the stories, the thing is, what we want to do is if you're interested in all of this, then you have to get this book, which was I'm not going to tell you these stories. You get this book, it was published in 6 volumes, Swami Vivekananda, only in America. Volume 5 is all about Swamiji in Southern California. Volume 6, when he left here, he went to San Francisco. And it was our, so that's it. Those are good place to read there. You can read the personal reminiscences of Alice Hansborough, who was one of the Mead sisters who lived with Swamiji here and then went with him to San Francisco in the Camp Taylor, and has all the reminiscences. You can read those online. It'll be very inspiring for you. Okay? So let's sing here. Kandana and Pravajika Dayaprana will lead us.
Swami lives here, so if you want to come one Swami, so he is not always here, so you have to call back if you anytime want to come, call, and then he knows, then he can organize or do something. But suddenly don't come.
Okay. Yeah. I think most people know the words. Here's some more song sheets. Okay, now, what we do is, if we can make a line, and get the blessing from Swami, for, we have the pipe here, where Swami Vivekananda left here at the house. And, I'm gonna keep it in there. We believe in the mystery of human vibrations. So this is a blessing. If you can touch the pipe, then you get blessed. So, Swami, that. So after you get your blessing, then please get your shoes on and go out the front door into the backyard.
This is the pipe which Swamiji left here, and that was the pipe which she wrapped on the head. So you please do one thing as Swami said, start this way, make this clear, and now steaming can be stopped now. But you can take everyone before you close. And then one by one come over here, don't touch my feet, only take this touch and put your shoes, go back, and then we'll have some snacks there. Okay?
Can I access here? Thank you. Thank you.
She's on back. She would love this.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Anyone has migraine?
You just Dennis might. That's not my.
Excuse me.